Good day, everyone. This is Ayo. In the last video, we started a series on serverless computing, and in this video, we are going to be continuing that series. What we are going to be doing in this video is we are going to be creating our functions in Visual Studio. Then we are going to be connecting the function that we created in Visual Studio to our function app in Microsoft Azure. So without wasting any more time, let me quickly get to it. I'll be sharing my screen immediately. I'll be sharing my Visual Studio. That's where we'll be starting from. Yeah, hopefully you can see my screen. So I'm on Visual Studio. I'll create a new project. Now just search for function. I always want my videos to be less than 10 minutes. I really hope that will be the case for this video. So let me call this function app 2. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so I'm fine with the function worker 6.0 is the LTS, and I'm fine with that. Then I'm working with HTTP trigger. You can see there are other options. If you recall, we saw some of this when we were working on the Azure portal, the authorization level, if you want it to be function-based, anonymous, or admin. We also saw this in the portal. Okay, so I need to reshare again. Yeah. So we have our application already. We can see this is the default code which is what we are going to be working with. We just want to test the get and the post method. So by default, this code has functions that works with both get and post requests. So this is fine. Because of our time, we're actually going to explore this code in more detail. But for now, we'll just work with the default, what we have by here. So I'll be running this program. I'll be running it. Yeah, so let me just run it. Let me run it locally first before we push it to Azure. Yeah, so I don't know if you'll be able to see the output window, but it will just provide you with a URL, the same way we got our function URL by clicking the get function URL button on the Azure portal. So I will just copy the URL. I do not want to reshare the output window, and I'm not sure if you can see the output window. So I'll just copy that. Then I will take it to Postman, and we are going to see how how we can, it's actually working. Yeah, so I've copied it. Then I will go over to Postman and we'll see let me open Postman. I'll stop sharing, then I'll open Postman. Postman. Yeah, Postman is opening. So let me stop sharing, then I will reshare for Postman. my computer can be a little bit slow running Visual Studio, Postman, and so many other applications at the same time, Zoom and the likes. So let me reshare. I want to share Postman now. So if you don't know what Postman is just something we use to send API requests. Okay, so let me start with the GET requests. Let me change this to GET. I believe you can see my Postman screen now. Currently, looks like I didn't copy. Okay. Yeah. So this is the URL from the output screen. Oh, I didn't copy everything. Yeah. Okay. So this is the URL. So from our Visual Studio, if you take note of it, there's a parameter for GET request and it's called name. So that's just what I will be adding over here. So I can also do it through here by just putting name is equal to, let me call the name Ayo. Name is equal to Ayo. So let's see if it would work as expected. We are running this locally. Yeah, so you can see hello Ayo. So the HTTP triggered function executed successfully. So it works for GET request. If I should also change this to a post request, and for a post request, rather than it being a parameter that is appended, it will be in the body. So I can just put this Ayokunle. In case you don't know, my full name is Ayokunle, which means joy will fill my house. Yeah, so I'm running this now. This is a post request. So you should know the difference between get and post. So you can see it also works well. I can see the name is changed to Ayokunle. That tells you that this post request works. Yeah, so we've been able to run this locally. But right now, aside from writing our functions in Visual Studio, what we really want to do is we want to connect our Visual Studio to Microsoft Azure. So we want there to be a connection between the function app service on Microsoft Azure and the function that we are creating on Visual Studio. So I would share my browser now. Yeah, so I want to create a function app. I believe you can see my browser already. So I'm creating it now. Yeah, so I will always use RG function app, resource group function app. Then let me give it a name. Let me just give it Frankly 1234. Yeah. Runtime stack remains .NET. So it's also version 6, the runtime stack, the version. Then Windows Serverless let's see. Earlier on in our previous video, I spoke about when you might need to use app service plan. This video must not be more than 10 minutes, at most 15-20 minutes. It shouldn't exceed that. So I better be fast. Then we are creating our function app service now. Function app on Microsoft Azure. Yeah, so when this is done, we are now going to publish our function from Visual Studio to Microsoft Azure. This is just going to take a few minutes to be done very soon. Yeah. So this is part of our serverless series. In the next video, we are going to be looking at how we can see more realistic example on how this would work. So not just using the default code that Visual Studio gives you or that Azure Portal gives you, but trying to see a real serverless application. We'll be looking at that hopefully in our next video. So it's done. So we go to our resource. Yeah, so this is fine. So what I will do now is I will stop sharing over here. I will share my Visual Studio. So I can even stop. Let me share my Visual Studio. Yeah, so I can stop running this. I can stop running the application. Yeah, so what I want to do now is I want to publish to Azure. So I will right click over here, publish. Then I would choose Azure. Next. So you can see the options here. We have function app for Windows, for Linux, function app container, the likes. So I'll pick the one for Windows because it's Windows I'm working with. So it's Windows that the function app was built on. So you can see my Azure subscription is already added. So I can easily find what I'm looking for. So I'll just navigate over it. You can see what was created. Click on this. Need to select that. Then I finish. Yeah, so it's creating my publish profile now. Yeah, so that is done. So now I can publish. I can publish to my code to Azure, my function to Azure. So in subsequent videos, I'm going to break down the different aspects of the codes in our function so that we'll have a clear understanding on how it really works. So it's still publishing to Azure Function app. So when this is done, we'll see if, so all those names that I was entering as a parameter and I was entering as a key value pair in the body of my post request. So they are from the function in itself, the function, the C# scripts in the function. Yeah, so this is done. So with this now, I can stop sharing. I will share my browser. So let me share my browser. Yeah, so I can refresh. So take note of this. So this is where the list of my functions should be. So hopefully, yeah, we can now see it over here, function one. So I can click on this. Yeah, so you can see here, use your local environment to edit the function now, which is Visual Studio in my case. So unlike before, when we usually see the option to create, to modify and work on our functions from the portal in the .cxx file over here, we can only see the function.json file over here, which is just the properties of our function. We can't even find the README file. So let me just quickly get the function URL, and we'll just see that it also works via the internet, not just locally. So let me put the same name is equal to, this time around, let me say frankly, and enter. I must have made, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Okay. Okay, I think just give me a moment to uh, let me use, oh yeah, so it's because of, I was meant to append it. So I was meant to append this parameter because code is already a parameter. So I'll use ampersand and name is equal to frankly. It should work now, hopefully. Yeah. So you can see hello frankly. So you can see it works well, even via the internet. Yeah, so that's just what we plan to do for this video. So let me stop sharing. If you also test it for post requests, it will also